everybody. My name is James Judge, and I'm an assistant professor of history here at Rowan College of Burlington County. Now, RCBC has a commitment to helping students and developing students into becoming leaders within the community. And as part of that commitment, what I want to do with you guys today is to go over the mail-in ballot for this year's upcoming election. Because this is the first time that many of us are going to be voting via mail-in ballots, what I want to do is to go over the whole process with you guys together so that you know what to expect when you're getting ready to fill yours out, how to fill it out properly, and ultimately how to send it back properly so that your vote is counted on November 3rd. So let's start first with the piece of mail that you should have received by now. If you have not received yours, I would reach out to your county clerk's office as soon as possible so that they can send this to you as soon as possible. Once you open your envelope here, you're going to find 4 documents inside. So one of the first things that you should see upon opening up that envelope is what kind of looks like a bit of an instruction sheet. This is not a necessary part of your ballot. You do not need to mail this back. The second piece of documentation that you should find inside is your actual ballot itself, that you can kind of unfold into a very, very long piece of document here. And again, we'll talk more about that in just one second. The third piece that you're going to find inside should look something like this. This is the certificate envelope. And then the very last piece to this puzzle is the return envelope itself. So you really don't need to do anything with this until the very end of the process. Okay, so let's go again, like I said, let's go over each of these real quick to make sure that the whole process makes sense from start to finish, again, so that your ballot is counted on November 3rd for the big election. So again, just one more time as a quick reminder, you do not need to do anything with this instruction sheet. It has valuable information on there. I highly recommend reading it over at least once to get an idea of the overall picture of how this process is going to work from start to finish. And once you feel like you have a good idea of how things are going to go, we can move on to really the meat and potatoes of this, which of course is your ballot itself. Now, as you can see, this is a pretty long document. But what's interesting about this is that it's a document that's going to allow us to vote for lots of different positions, all the way from the federal level for President of the United States, way down to even the local level for things like the regional school district board and the local school district board. So that's pretty cool. What you'll notice here, and this is one of the reasons why this document's so long, is because there are a number of different people that we can vote for depending on what position that you're voting for. You'll notice that there are more candidates running for President of the United States than just the Democratic candidate and the Republican candidate. There are a number of other third-party candidates that are also running this year, which is pretty neat. So when you're actually filling out your ballot itself, one of the important things to remember is that regardless of who you're voting for, you need to fill in the oval for that candidate as completely as possible. They will not accept X's in the oval. They will not accept check marks in the oval. It has to be filled in its entirety. Now, what can you actually use to fill your ballot in with? You can use a pencil if you want to. You can use black ink pen or a blue ink pen. Any one of those 3 will work. Apparently red pens and red ink does not work. There's one last area to make sure that you don't miss. If you flip your ballot around on the back, what you'll also see here are what we refer to as referendum questions. Now, these are really cool. These are, in essence, yes or no questions that we get to vote on every year during the election process. And in this particular year in the state of New Jersey, we have 3 questions that are up for grabs. So what you can do here is to read over the official wording of each of the 3 questions up top. And then you'll notice underneath it something that says interpretive statements. Now, what that's kind of doing is just taking the official wording at the top and putting it into simple language that everybody can kind of understand. You'll notice at the bottom of each of these questions, there are simply just ovals for yes or no, depending on how you want to vote for each of those 3 questions. So once you are done voting for all the people on the front of the ballot, once you are done filling in your ovals for the questions on the back of the ballot, you are now well on your way. You're going to fold it back into the rectangle that it kind of came in like this. Now, what you are going to do once your ballot is completely filled out is you are going to grab now your certificate envelope. And what you'll be able to do with your certificate envelope is to kind of open up the flap. And what you'll notice here is an area of your certificate envelope, excuse me, where you are going to put your mail-in ballots, almost like a regular envelope. So you are going to take your completed ballot. You are going to put it inside of that certificate envelope. Nice. Now, what you'll also notice here is kind of an adhesive liner. What you're going to do is simply just peel that adhesive liner off, fold down the flap, and then seal the whole thing together. That way it's nice and sealed off. Now, once your completed ballot is inside and your envelope is sealed, there is an extra part here that you cannot forget. This is vitally important. This envelope requires your signature. Do not forget to sign this. If you forget to sign this, it could cause complications. They may not end up accepting your ballot if you do not sign this. Now, there's one last piece to this as well. And I know this is going to sound bizarre, but trust me when I say that it's important. It's very important that you try to make this signature as close to your normal signature as possible. And I know that sounds weird. But the reason why I say that is because when people are counting up your ballots, they are going to compare this signature to your signature on your voting record. And if the signatures are radically different, your ballot may end up getting challenged and it may end up getting rejected. Once your ballot, your completed ballot is inside and sealed, once you have signed this line right here, you're almost done. One additional helpful hint here for anybody who's interested is if you flip over this certificate envelope to the back, you'll notice these instructions. This is a very, very helpful step-by-step, basically checklist that you can follow to make sure that you did this entire process 100% correctly, so that, again, your ballot gets counted on November 3rd. You are now going to take your certificate envelope and you are going to put it inside that return envelope, that return mail envelope. Make sure that your return address is visible here so that everything's nice and official. You'll notice here at the top as well that postage is already paid for, so you do not need to add any stamps or anything to this. So once your certificate envelope is inside your return mailing envelope, you simply just seal this up and you can put it out in your mailbox. If you are feeling so inclined and you want to take an additional step, you can return this to ballot drop boxes that are located all across the county. You're more than welcome to Google it, or you can go to the nj.gov website, and it explains to you there all the different locations where your ballot drop boxes are. Now, this is the last piece that I need to share with you, and it's also a very important part here. This envelope, if you choose to mail it or if you choose to drop it off in the ballot drop boxes, must be returned to the voting office by November 3rd, which means it either needs to be collected from your mailbox and postmarked by November 3rd, or it needs to be collected from the ballot drop box by November 3rd. If it is not collected or postmarked until the 4th or later, it will not be counted, which is why I highly recommend that you get it in sooner rather than later. That way you don't have to worry about it and your business is all taken care of and your ballot will be counted on November 3rd. Now, there's one cool feature to all of this too, and it's that you have the ability to track your ballot for free. If you go to the nj.gov website, they have a ballot tracker that will track the different steps that your ballot has now taken to see if it's made it to the balloting location, whether or not it's been accepted or challenged or rejected, and ultimately if it's been counted or not. That process, that tracker is 100% free. You have the ability to check it whenever you want to. So that's it. Hopefully it's much more simple for you than my many words make it sound like. Trust me when I say, guys, that it's not nearly as complicated as perhaps it looks. Good luck and enjoy the voting season, guys.